Hey guys, this is Sakshi and I welcome you all to my tech platform Way to Learn. So, sorry for this long gap. I haven't posted videos on PYQs. So, let us start again. So, this is the part 6 of PYQ Marathon from Mathematical Physics. So, we'll be solving 10 questions from GATE PYQs. So, let us solve our 51st question, which is the part 5 of PYQ Marathon. So, if you haven't started gate preparation, just start with the um, starting my mathematical videos and then classical mechanics videos and then so on. So, we will be solving mathematical and then classical videos next in next few videos. So, if you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe and also share it with your friends and solve together. So, let us now start with the 51st question. Which is from GATE 2011. And here's a question which says that the two matrices are said to be similar if B is equal to P inverse AP for some invertible matrix P. Which of the following statement is not true? So, if you see, we have to choose the odd one out. Okay, so here that A is equal to that P, trace A is equal to trace B, and A and B have same eigenvectors and A and B have same eigenvalues. So, similarity transformation gives you like a matrix similar to the operator matrix. That is, if A is a matrix and I'm going to um, use another transformation matrix which is P, and I'm going to transform this A matrix to a similar matrix which is B. So if you solve such kind of similar matrix, or you have any kind of similar matrices with you, then the following properties will be valid. That is, their determinant will be same because it is from the same A. B is from A. So determinant will be same, trace will be same, and then eigenvalues may also be same. But eigenvectors will never be same. So for any matrices, if they are similar to, their eigenvectors will differ. Just remember like polyspin Pauli's exclusive principle, which says that no two electrons can be in the same quantum number, right? So similarly here, not two similar matrices can have the same eigenvectors. So if there should be some difference for these two similar matrices, right? So that difference can be given by different eigenvectors. So eigenvectors will not be same for any similar matrices. So next, which is 52, which is from GATE 2011. And here, if you see a 3 by 3 matrix element such that its trace is 11, we have the trace and the determinant is 36. Trace is 11 and determinant is 36. If you have trace, you can just add the eigenvalues, which is equal to 11. Determinant is 36, then determinant is 36. Then therefore, we can just make the product lambda 1 into lambda 2 into lambda 3, and we get 36. So now we have to find the largest eigenvalue of the matrix. So we have to find the largest eigenvalue of the matrix. Okay, so now we have to choose from the option. Fine. So I'm going to use option A here, which is 18. So let me assume that 18 is my largest eigenvalue. So if I put that in my trace, 18 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 will never give me 11. Okay. Even if I get something like, and if I also put in the determinant part, 18 into lambda 2 into lambda 3, I can assume 18 into 2 into 1. Like 18 into minus 2 into minus 1. It can give me plus 36. Similarly, if I use the same minus 2 and minus 1 in the trace part, I get 18 minus 2 minus 1, which is equal to 15. Therefore, it is not equal to 11. So, option A will not satisfy. So, if you see now in option B, 12 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 is equal to 11, and it should also give 12 into lambda 2 into lambda 3 is equal to 36. I can use 12 into 3 into 1. So, it can also be 12 into minus 3 into minus 1, or 12 into 3 into 1. So if you put these lambda values over here, you're not going to get exact 11. So this option is also not the correct answer. Next is option C, which is 9. Now I'm again using 9 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 is equal to 11, and 9 into lambda 2 into lambda 3 is equal to 36. Possibilities are, it can be 9 into 4 into 1 or 9 into 2 into 2. It can be anything. So if I put the same eigenvalues and try back in this trace value, I'm not going to get the same value. So similarly for option D, my option I can use 6 into 2 into 3 or 6 into 6 into 1. So if I use 2 and 3 as lambda 2 and lambda 3, I get trace same. Lambda 6 plus 2 plus 3 gives me 11, and 6 into 2 into 3 gives me 36. Therefore, the largest eigenvalue of the matrix would be 6, for which the trace is 11 and determinant is 36. So let us see the 53rd question, which is from vectors, in very easy question. Here if you see, consider a cylinder of height h. You are given a cylinder of height h and radius a, which are closed at both the ends, and r vector is the position vector here. N vector is a unit normal. And now we have to find the surface integral r vector dot n cap ds over the closed surface of the cylinder. So now I'm going to use the Gauss divergence theorem, which converts my surface integral to volume integral, and I have my r vector, which is xi plus yj plus zk. So I'm going to use it over here. Del dot r is 3. You can just find del dot r, you will get 3. So when I substitute in this Gauss divergence theorem, I get 3 into dv. When I integrate this dv, I get 3 into v. Now we know that the volume of a cylinder will be pi r square h, and here r radius is a. Therefore, the volume will be pi a square h. Volume is pi a square h. Now I have to substitute this pi a square h in 3 into volume. So 3 into pi a square h will be my answer. So it will be the answer for this surface integral. So let us see the 54th question. This is also a simple question. You just need to think about the options. So now here the solution of the differential equation, we have to find the solution, and we have to check with which of the options are correct with the solution. So this is very easy. The first method of solving a first order differential equation, method of separable of variables. Okay, so I'm going to separate the variables y on the other side and x on the other side. So y here is on my left hand side and x here is on my right hand side. So when I integrate, I get y square x square by 2 plus y square by 2 plus y is equal to c. Now I'm going to simplify this x square plus y square plus 2y. This I'm going to take the LCM, and then in order to get a form, I'm going to write this as like x minus 0 the whole square. If I'm going to expand this in a minus b the whole square, I'm going to get the x square. And now when I use y plus 1 the whole square, so I'm going to get when I'm going to expand this y plus 1 the whole square, I'm going to get y square plus 2y plus 1. So there is a 1 extra. So I'm going to subtract that here. So I'm going to use that plus or minus 1 over here. So this is the extra minus 1, which will cancel out with the plus 1, which is coming from this expansion. Okay, so now I can just rewrite this as this. So you can say that this particular function, integral function, after integrating, we are going to get like circles with different radius. Okay, so these belong to the family of circles with different radius. Okay, so next we shall see uh, the counter. Okay, GATE 2011, the 55th question. Consider a counterclockwise circular contour z is equal to 1 about the origin. Let f of z is equal to z sin z by z minus pi the whole square. Then the integral f of z dz over this contour is. So we are going to find this the integral of this f of z dz, this function. So first thing, we have to just draw this contour unit circle, right? And then the function is given over here. So next we have to find the pole. So z minus pi the whole square. So if you use this over here, z minus pi will be equal to 0, z will be equal to pi. So pi, which is 3.14. So z is equal to 3.14 lies outside the contour because our contour is of radius 1. 3.14 obviously lies outside the contour. Therefore, our integral f of z dz will be 0. So let us see the 56th question, which is from the vectors. We have to identify the correct statement, which is like A and B are linearly independent or dependent or orthogonal or normalized. So if you see here, for to check any vectors which are linearly independent or dependent, we can directly use the box product, which is the determinant of those vectors. So A vector here is 3i plus 2j and B vector here is i plus 2j. So on taking the determinant of these, I have written as 3, uh, this column is for I cap and this is for j cap. So I have written that and I have taken the determinant. So when the determinant is not equal to 0, then we can say that those vectors are linearly independent. If the determinant is equal to 0, then we can say that they are linearly dependent. We have to remember this important property of vectors. So let us see the 57th question. The number of independent components of the symmetric tensor Aij with indices I is equal to j is equal to 1, 2, 3 is. So we have to find the number of independent components of a symmetric tensor. I have already solved such kind of question, which was for asymmetric. Now we are going to do for symmetric. Yeah. So the number of independent components of a symmetric tensor is given by half n square minus n. Yes, just 9. Okay, sorry, that was for symmetric tensor. I have written this for asymmetric tensor, and our question says that this is a symmetric tensor. So now what we have to do, that we have to just add a positive sign over here. So for a asymmetric tensor, you can say half n square plus n. But for a symmetric tensor, it will be, oh sorry, for an asymmetric tensor, it will be n square minus n. For an symmetric tensor, it will be half n squared plus n. So now we are going to just use half into n square is nothing but 9 plus n is nothing but 3. Therefore 12 by 2 gives us 6. The correct answer will be 6. Just remember the correct formula for symmetric and for asymmetric. It just varies by a sign. So let us see the question number 58, which is from matrices. So we have to find the eigenvalues of this particular matrix. So if you see over here, I have used two methods which I have already told one method in my matrices the whole video, that is along with the formula videos. I have given a trick to get the eigenvalue characteristic equation, right? So I have solved in two ways. You can use any way which is easy for you, or which one you find that okay, this will just save my time. Okay, so the first method is normal, a minus lambda is equal to 0, that of a minus lambda is equal to 0. So I've just substituted that, and on solving that I'm going to just take the determinant, and solving that I get lambda into, okay, my equation will be lambda cube minus 2 lambda equal to 0. So when I solve this, I get lambda into lambda square minus 2, which is equal to 0, and the lambda values will be 0 comma root 2 comma minus root 2. Okay, now the other method is to use this formula in order to write this equation. If you make mistake in finding the determinant, you can directly use this equation to, for a 3 by 3 matrix, to write the characteristic equation directly. Okay, which is lambda cube minus trace of lambda square, trace into lambda square plus sum of the minors into lambda minus determinant of a equal to 0. So you have to find the trace, you have to find the determinant of that given matrix, and you have to find the minor of M11. That is, you have to find the minor of this one, and this one. Okay, so minor is nothing but for M11, you're going to take these two values, 0, 1, and 0. You're going to take the determinant. So 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Okay, similarly for M22, you're going to use this 0, 0, 0, 0. You're going to take the determinant for M22. And for M33, you're going to take this one. That is determinant of 0, 1, 1, 0. So that's all. That is what is minor over here. So you're going to take that and you're going to sum it up. Okay, the sum of these minor values. So you can use M11 plus M22 plus M33. So I've written the values for M11, M22 and M33. And when you rearrange this equation with what all you have found, I have found the trace which is 0, and I also found the determinant of matrix A which is also 0. Now I'm going to substitute in this particular formula lambda cube minus 0 plus this sum of the minors gives me minus 2 into lambda, and minus 0 is equal to 0. So you have to remember the formula, the sign where there is negative and where the sign is positive. So this will also help you a lot. So let us see the 59th question. If A and B are constant vectors. So here A and B are constant vectors, then del of A dot B cross R is what? First thing, you know that A and B here are constant vectors. So therefore I can write A and B as this. Okay. So next we have to find A dot B cross R. So B cross R is over here. So I have found B cross R. So I get my B cross R value as this. My R vector is my position vector, which is I, X, Y, Z. Okay. So I have written my position vector over here, and A vector and B vector, which are constant vectors. Okay. So next I have to find A dot B cross R. So I'm going to use this A dot B cross R I have found over here. So if you see A dot B cross R, when I substitute that, all the terms get cancelled. Therefore, my A dot B cross R is itself 0, then del of 0 will be 0. So, a very simple question. Okay, next is from GATE 2013, the last question from complex analysis. So, here we have to find the residue. Just see, the question says the residue. You do not have to find the uh, final answer for this particular function. You just have to find the residue, and even at the pole z is equal to 1. Okay, so you don't have to calculate entirely, just you have to find the residue for z is equal to 1 pole. So now if you see, the z is equal to 1 is a pole which is given in the question, and that pole is a simple pole or a second order pole. That is what you have to see. So if you see, there is a square term in this function, therefore that is a second order pole. So now we have to find the residue. So according to the formula, I'm just writing the residue formula over here. I have to differentiate once. Okay, so I'm going to differentiate once this entire function after cancelling my z minus on the whole square. Then after taking the differentiation, I can just substitute z is equal to 1. So now after differentiating, I have done by UV method. I have taken my denominator to the numerator. I have done by UV method. So by doing that, I get the following answer. And on simplifying, after putting my z is equal to 1, I get the following substitution. So after this, when I simplify, I get my residue to be 3. Therefore, I think that these 10 questions were helpful for you. And sorry for the delay, a long delay on posting my videos. So I'll be on track from now on. So just keep solving with me. And even if I don't post video, please start solving on yourself. Okay, share with your friends, and also share solve together with your friends so that you gain more knowledge. So thank you. See you in my next video with more problems. So